Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And it is the eve of my 27th sobriety birthday, which it feels surreal. I am so full of gratitude today. I feel very blessed. And I got up very early today. I got up at like 4:30, I think, and was vlogging. And I've been up ever since then, doing stuff, filming videos, running errands. And I have just been going back and forth between being very emotional, in a tearful, joyous kind of way, and also being very just like happy and dancing around. And I keep on going back and forth between these kind of like two stages of emotions today, because there are moments that I just am like, God, I'm so blessed to have the life that I have, you know, and if I hadn't gotten sober, I wouldn't have anything that I have today. And then like I just kind of find myself like bursting out in like tears just thinking about just what an amazing gift it is. You know, sobriety and recovery are just amazing gifts that I'll talk about this over here regularly, but you know, so many people will never be introduced to sobriety and recovery. And I just, I don't treat it lightly. It is something I take very, very seriously, and it is a gift that I absolutely cherish. I think especially because there were the 4 years that I didn't go to meetings, and I look back on that, and at the time it didn't feel like I was, you know, hanging on by a thread, but looking back, I definitely was hanging on by a thread. And so today my sobriety means so much more to me, because I think I could have lost it, you know. And also having had friends of mine that went back out and started using again and ended up right back to where they were before they got sober, you know, I definitely cherish it for that reason too. I greatly miss those people, you know. They're not in my life today, and not at my choice. You know, whenever I say that, there's always those people out there that are like, so you get rid of your friends if they start using again? No, like I've tried to remain friends with those people and keep them in my lives, but you know, when people go back out and they start using again, they don't really want to be around a lot of sober people, and so those friendships have kind of just gone away through the years, you know, which is very sad. But I also know that I cherish my sobriety, and I'm not willing to lose it. And so today I'm not willing to lose it, I guess I should say, because God knows what will happen down the road. But that's why I do the things I do today to stay sober. And I just look at it and I think, you know, this thing that I never wanted in my life, this thing that I resisted with every heartbeat, with every thing that I could do, that I pushed it away, that, you know, people would beg me to get sober and said that my drinking and drugging was a problem. This one thing in my life that I was so resistant to, the one thing that everybody thought that I needed, and I didn't think I needed anything to do with it, that one thing has so profoundly, it has been the thing that has profoundly changed my life and given me the life that I have today. And I am just full of gratitude today for that. So let's get into meditations and see what the meditation books have to say to us today. Let me kind of just like skim through these really quick. Let's see the meditation for living in balance and see what it says today, December 16th. Okay, the 4 elements it's talking about. Let's see the Melody Beatty books, what they're talking about today. See if there's one that really speaks to me as I'm skimming through here. Okay, this is a good one. December 16th, taking care of ourselves emotionally. What does it mean to take care of myself emotionally? I recognize when I'm feeling angry, and I accept that feeling without shame or blame. I recognize when I'm feeling hurt, and I accept those feelings without attempting to punish the source of my pain. I recognize and feel fear when that emotion presents itself. I allow myself to feel happiness, joy, and love when those emotions are available. Taking care of myself means I've made a decision that it's okay to feel. Taking care of my emotions means I allow myself to stay with the feeling until it's time to release it and go on to the next one. I recognize that sometimes my feelings can help point me toward reality, but sometimes my feelings are deceptive. They are important, but I do not have to let them control me. I can feel and think too. I talk to people about my feelings when that's appropriate and safe. I reach out for help or guidance if I get stuck in a particular emotion. I'm open to the lessons my emotions may be trying to teach me. After I feel, accept, and release the feeling, I ask myself what it is I want or need to do to take care of myself. Taking care of myself emotionally means I value, treasure, explore, and cherish the emotional part of myself. Today I will take care of myself emotionally. I will be open to and accepting of the emotional part of myself and other people. I will strive for balance by combining emotions with reason, but I will not allow intellect to push the emotional part of myself away. Wow. I love that it says in here, it talks about recognizing when I'm feeling hurt, recognizing when I'm feeling angry, recognizing happiness, joy, and love. Because I think sometimes, and I say this, over here often, when we're talking, I almost dropped the book, when we're talking about saying, I feel I'm very emotional today, like I just kind of was talking about, like I'm crying and whatever. I always think of being emotional as that way, but being emotional can be overzealous or overzealous, but happy, and overjoyous and sad, hurt, angry, all of these different emotions. If you like, when I was working in treatment, I can remember, and when I was in treatment, they would have the feelings charts if you've ever seen them before, and there'd be like these little faces, and they would say underneath it, and we would pick, what our feeling was for the day or whatever. And there's so many different emotions out there, right? So when we say I'm feeling very emotional today, it doesn't just mean I'm sad and I'm crying. But I think that we've used that phrase to the point where it's kind of like the definition has been muted a little bit. And so we only think of ourselves as like when people say I'm a very emotional person, what that means is that they cry a lot and they're sensitive. We think that, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that. Doesn't it mean more that they're very in tune with their emotions? And, this is something that I really had to work on, allowing myself to have a broad range of emotions and allowing myself to feel those emotions outwardly and publicly and not be afraid of what people would say to me. Being willing to cry in the middle of a meeting or with family members. Family members, sometimes it was even harder with, and I'm not talking like during a funeral. I can remember one Thanksgiving with my in-laws, we all went around and said one thing we were thankful for. And I can remember talking about the thing I was thankful for that year was my brother and sister-in-law had just moved here, and I had always wanted a sister, and I finally had a sister, and I was so grateful for my sister. I still am so grateful for my sister-in-law, Liliana. She's fantastic and an amazing mother and an amazing sister-in-law, and I just feel so blessed that I have a sister, and I also have two brothers, that I never had before, which is really cool. And I can just remember like I started crying and they just were all like very accepting of that. And that was hard for me because, I didn't feel that much of a part of the family at that point yet, even though I had been there for a couple of years, I still was like not big on just showing my emotions. It still takes some time. And, and now they just know. I cry, I laugh, whatever, But I think also, like, my mom, back in the day, like, she'd be having so much fun and she'd be dancing and whatever, and I would be like, Mom, and she'd be like, oh, you don't want your mom to have fun. You don't want your mom to be happy. And I think sometimes we don't know what to do when other people are showing emotions that we're not used to, right? And I think the whole idea of allowing ourselves to feel this broad range of emotion and not being embarrassed about it, not being ashamed, and just feeling it, and what's interesting to me is the more that I am in tune with my emotions and the more that I show those emotions and I am vulnerable with myself to allow myself to do that in front of other people, I seem to draw people towards me. Like the people that I have in my life are people that are very similar to that, or they like that quality about me, The people that are always kind of like, ooh, he's crying, or why is he laughing so hard, or talking so loud, or being so excited, or whatever, like, those are people that probably don't want to be in my life anyway, because they don't really understand those and I think emotions scare those kind of people, I think as far as like sitting in an emotion until you're okay with it, or you've gone through the emotion, what's interesting to me about that is that I can remember when my mom passed away, and I don't know where I got this from. Nobody told it to me. It wasn't anything I think I was taught. Maybe they did. I don't know. But this is one thing I do tell people today when they say, I'm really grieving, what should I do? I can remember driving down the street, and like a song would come on the radio, like a Bob Dylan song, because my mom loved Bob Dylan, or Judy Collins song. But I can remember one time Mr. Tambourine Man came on. It was the Bob Dylan version on my like iTunes or whatever, and on my iPod or whatever we had back in the day. And I can remember I just started bawling and I pulled over into this parking lot and I just sat there. I don't even know how long I sat there, but I just sat there and just bawled and cried and listened to the song. And then I kind of pulled myself together and just let it pass. And I was like, okay, it's time to move on. And that's something that I've allowed myself to do the last couple years, is just really feel emotions and not push them aside and not ignore them, but, allow them to be a part of who I am. And I am an emotional person today. I am an angry person at times. I'm a happy person at times, and I'm an excited person at times. I'm I'm sad. I'm tearful. I'm joyous. I'm all kinds of things, And I think most of us are, but I think fear keeps us sometimes from sharing those emotions with the world. And when we talk about being vulnerable, really what that is being vulnerable to ourselves more than anybody else, and allowing ourselves to share with the world and share with ourselves those emotions that we're afraid, that there were many years that I don't know that I could even feel emotions outwardly, even with myself, you know what I mean? Like, I just would be like, this is stupid, why are you crying, pushing aside? Or why are you getting so excited about this? I was like driving down the street, this is a good example. I was driving down the street one night and I was listening to this cozy mystery series that I love, and so the romance happens finally at the end of like the third book, and I can remember I'm like 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm driving down the street, country roads, listening to this cozy mystery, and I'm like, yes, yes, yes. I was so excited about it, right? And that's who I am today. Like, I want to live life to the fullest, and living life to the fullest to me means allowing myself to feel each and every single emotion that comes up when it does, and identify it, not being overwhelmed by it. And I think that's important, learning to try to balance it out as much as possible, or talk to people when I'm feeling a certain way. If it's becoming overwhelming, or I'm stuck in an emotion or a feeling and I can't get out of it, especially if it's one that's going to be detrimental to me being, getting things done throughout the day. If I'm just so sad that I can't get things done, and I'm not talking about clinical depression, that is something completely different, okay? And there's a difference between, I think we say a lot like I'm depressed, when what we really mean is I'm feeling sad today. People that are clinically depressed, that's something completely different, and I think it's important to differentiate the difference, because there are many, many people out there that have diagnosable depression. That's different, and you need to be seeing somebody and talking to somebody about that. But where we have moments of being sad and you just can't get through it, if you're going through a breakup, or it's temporary sadness or whatever, it's important to talk to people about that, or journal, or not just push it aside and act like it's just a worthless emotion. It's not a worthless emotion. You're not worthless, and neither are your emotions. I think, but I think often we tell ourselves in our heads, like, I'm worthless, I don't matter. And so then we believe inside that our emotions don't matter, and that how we feel doesn't matter. The truth is that feelings aren't facts. Okay? And what that means is, I don't want to base lifelong decisions on how I feel in this immediate moment, because how I feel might change 5 or 10 minutes down the road, or 5 years or 10 years down the road, okay? But that being said, I still have a right to my feelings. You have a right to your feelings. You have a right to feel everything that's going on inside yourself, not be ashamed, not be embarrassed by that. But also allow yourself to be vulnerable enough that you're honest with yourself, and if possible, others as well. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.